To rename the extension of the boulevard to a previous leader of this province that actually was instrumental in the devastation of our lands, our rivers, and our lakes.
Tonight, a Winnipeg street gets its new name.
The evidence coming forward is that your industry knew that increasing production and increasing the burning of fossil fuels is destabilizing the planet.
And NDP MP calls out big oil in the House of Commons.
So we're selling traditional medicine and traditional food like the canned salmon.
And a Vancouver couple is bringing traditional foods to the urban setting. Good evening, I'm Dennis Ward. Welcome to APTN National News. The election to replace Roseanne Archibald as National Chief of the Assembly of First Nations has another name in the hat. Manitoba Regional Chief Cindy Woodhouse announced her intention to run today. So far, she is the second to declare, challenging David Pratt, who is currently with the Federation of Sovereign Indigenous Nations, who made his intentions known to run several weeks ago. Woodhouse hails from the Pinyamutang First Nation in Manitoba's Interlake region and is currently the AFN's regional chief for Manitoba.
For those of you that don't know me, and for those of you that are, watching live and wanting to, talk about the future of the Assembly of First Nations, I would just like to announce to you today that I will be seeking the position of National Chief at the Assembly of First Nations.
And the Assembly's election is scheduled to take place in Ottawa in the first week of December. A recently renamed highway in Winnipeg is the center of controversy yet again, as two councillors suggest another name change. Bishop Grandin Boulevard was renamed to Abinogi Mikina this past spring. Grandin was a Roman Catholic bishop and an architect in the residential school system. The new name means Children's Road in Anishinaabe and represents residential school survivors and the children who died in those institutions. But two Winnipeg City councillors say an extension of the road should be renamed again to honor Manitoba's first NDP Premier, Edward Schreier. The motion was voted down today by City Council. Grand Chief Garrison Satie speaks for Northern Chiefs in Manitoba.
To rename the extension of the boulevard to a previous leader of this province that actually was instrumental in the devastation of our lands, our rivers, and our lakes. And to do so without consulting us is disrespectful to the children and the survivors of the residential school system. It's disrespectful to our chiefs and our people. Without consultation, without involvement, making decisions with the exclusion of our chiefs is no longer acceptable.
The former Grand Chief of Manitoba, Kuwait-Nawioki-Mackinac, Sheila North, has been an advocate for families of missing and murdered Indigenous relatives for decades. The former Grand Chief recently wrote an open letter to all levels of government calling for Canada to recognize its human rights obligations. I spoke with Sheila earlier today. Sheila, thanks for being with us. Maybe a little on what compelled you to write this letter and why now?
Well, I think that we have to remind all levels of governments, including municipal, provincial, and federal governments, and NGOs of their international obligations to search people that go missing and whose deaths are unaccounted for. So there are two major international conventions that obligate our countries and our states to search for the missing, and I think that they needed to be reminded of that, especially because Canada is seeking a seat back on the UN Human Rights Council, and if they're going to do that, they need to at least make firm commitments, all governments do, to search unmarked graves, graves at former Indian hospitals, but of course also landfills like the ones around Winnipeg that presume to have our loved ones in there.
Now, you say that there has been incremental progress on the federal front. What more needs to be done?
Well, at the very least, we need to see more implementation of the 231 calls to justice of the National Inquiry into Missing and Murdered Indigenous Women and Girls. We need to see firm commitments and partnerships with different levels of governments to start to address the way that searches are done and the fact that searches need to be done, and create more resources and create more opportunities for that to happen. And also make firm commitments to search unmarked graves at residential schools. We know there's a lot of goodwill. We know there's a lot of talk and even hope and lots of talk about reconciliation, but we need to make sure that people and governments especially are held to account to make sure that they do the right thing and do the searches. It shouldn't be just a matter of political will. They should be obligated to do that. And we know that internationally, they are obligated to search and repatriate and bring justice for the families.
I guess, Sheila, what are you hoping that the letter accomplishes? Putting pressure, I guess, on governments of all levels?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not going to discount that they have done some. They have provided some resources. They have fostered a lot of goodwill, but we need to do more. We are talking a lot, and I don't want it to get lost in all of the other information out there, and we know there's lots of things going on around our world that are drawing attention away from the issues, and we need to get back to reminding them again the importance of it, because our families are waiting, our loved ones are waiting, and I also want to acknowledge that this is a bigger problem more than just our missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls and two-spirited plus people. We know that this also affects men and boys, and it's time to start rethinking that and using hashtags like MMIWR, which would cover all of our relatives that are missing and murdered, including children in unmarked graves. So we need to keep reminding people of their obligations and making sure that we see firm commitments to do the searches.
Sheila, we'll have to leave it there, but appreciate you speaking with us about this.
You're welcome. Thank you.
To Ottawa now, where big oil profits and the climate crisis were the focus of a committee meeting this week. The head of Suncor took some heat from NDP MP Charlie Angus, which, as Annette Francis reports, extended into a press conference held by Angus today.
Suncor CEO Rich Kruger was in the hot seat at the Standing Committee on Natural Resources on Monday. NDP MP Charlie Angus asked him about the many lawsuits against Suncor and evidence being withheld from the public.
The evidence coming forward is that your industry knew that increasing production and increasing the burning of fossil fuels is destabilizing the planet.
However, Conservative MP Jeremy Patzer asked Kruger how climate change policies, such as the carbon tax, allows Suncor to still be competitive internationally.
As an industry, what we need to do to be competitive and relevant in Canada is to find ways to improve our operations and offset those costs. Because our goal, we're predominantly a Canadian company, and we want to thrive and grow here for the long term.
Jean Vallant, an award-winning author who wrote on the impact of the Fort McMurray wildfire, was also a witness at the same committee. During a press conference with reporters on Tuesday, he responded to Kruger's testimony.
I really felt like I was in the 1980s in terms of the evolution of the message and the kind of business they still imagine themselves entitled to do. And the concessions they were making were, we'll burn some ethanol, we'll do some carbon capture, but these are all tiny little micro maneuverings in the face of a crisis.
Angus also told reporters it's insane to be talking about fossil developments when the climate is in crisis. He's calling on the Liberal government for clarity from the Minister of the Environment and Climate Change, Stephen Guilbeault, following a Supreme Court of Canada decision last week, which struck down how Ottawa assesses the environmental impact of major infrastructure projects like pipelines.
this government still has the power to move on the emissions cap, but I've seen no steps to actually make that happen. So we're calling on Minister Guilbeault to tell us, what are you actually going to do right now to respond to the Supreme Court, and also to respond to the message that we heard very clearly: the big oil is doubling down.
According to Valant, a country as rich as Canada should have every opportunity to excel and profit from green energy transition. Annette Francis, APTN National News, Ottawa.
Time to step aside for a quick break. Still to come, bringing traditional medicines to the city. Stick around. Welcome back. Cree LGBTQ plus activist Chevy Rabbit is getting ready for the 4th annual Walk a Mile in a ribbon skirt event in Edmonton's downtown. APTN's Chris Stewart spoke to Rabbit and her family about the event.
When people started being hateful, I thought, well, it's not me. There's nothing wrong with me. I know I'm loved. I'm a good person. I do good things.
For a decade, Chevy Rabbit has been an advocate for equality and peace. 10 years ago, she created the Hate to Hope rally after being beaten up because of her sexuality. Hundreds gather each year to show that love and hope is more powerful than hate.
What do we want? And when do we want it? Now.
And 4 years ago, she and her nieces wanted to honor women and their ribbon skirts and held the first Walk a Mile in a ribbon skirt event.
For me, a ribbon skirt is all about home fires. It's about those strong women behind. But also from my individualistic lens, it's about making space for the LGBTQ community so that they also can come home, repatriate themselves in culture in a safe and inclusive way.
The walk this year starts in Edmonton City Hall. Chevy wants to stop the prejudice Indigenous women face and educate people about culture and about what ribbon skirts mean.
Bringing matriarchal women to come and talk about ribbon skirts from their perspective, from a diversity of groups, and each will come and share their narrative. And it's done in a very authentic, holistic way, and so that non-Indigenous people can come and learn and do reconciliation.
She's inviting Indigenous and non-Indigenous people to come to the event, co-organized by the Stolen Brothers and Sisters Action Movement.
This is a great way for them to come and learn about culture, and then also learning about decolonizing gender and making room for transgender two-spirit people who are also searching for a safe space. So this hits a lot of those social markers that you really want when it comes to society building.
Chevy's family are supportive of her years of being an activist.
I think what Chevy's doing is really amazing. I work with a lot of Indigenous youth that ask me if I know Chevy, and I'm like, yeah, that's my sibling, and a lot of them are two-spirited, and so I'm proud of Chevy.
Walking a mile in a ribbon skirt begins at noon on Saturday, October 28th at City Hall in Edmonton. Chris Stewart, APTN National News, Ponoka, Alberta.
To Vancouver now, where a young couple have found a way to bring traditional medicine from their territories and offer it to those in the city who don't have access to these ancient healing remedies. Tina House has more.
Here on this busy street corner in East Vancouver on Commercial Drive, we came across this traditional medicine stand. Let's take a look and see what they have. Hi there, how are you?
Hello.
Hi, I'm Tina. Good. What are you guys selling here?
Well, we're selling traditional medicine and traditional food like the canned salmon. We call this wikis in my language. And we call it wikis because of muskrat root or short rat root. And then because the muskrats like to eat it. And it's a cure-all medicine for our people. So we use it in so many different ways. And so we harvest this in Alberta. And then we have chaga. It's like this is like a superfood. We make it into tea. It comes from, it's a fungus from a birch tree. And that birch tree is almost, to all my people, is almost like the cedar tree to the Coast Salish people because it provides so much stuff for us.
And this medicine is being distributed to those in the city who do not have an opportunity to harvest for themselves.
Oh, this is diamond willow fungus from the diamond willow tree. So we use it as a smudge. Yeah, we use it as a smudge. It'll help with migraines, headaches, and anxiety.
Mitchell, along with his partner Eileen Michelle, traveled to remote locations to harvest. For Eileen, she is from the Statlium territory near Lillooet, BC, and says to be able to share her salmon is a gift.
It feels good that I'm practicing my culture and what was taught to me since I was a young kid. So it feels good to learn that I'm able to fish and dip net, drift net, and to clean and to do canning. My mom taught me, so it feels good that I'm able to still practice that today.
And here at their medicine table in the park, they charge a small amount of money to cover their costs. However, they say some people don't agree with what they are doing.
And we're okay with that. We knew by going into it, but it's part of our ancestors used to do it as well. Like they used to trade and barter with different tribes, and even with the colonizers or settlers what came here, to better their lives. Or money is a tool, and this is partly on how we make our living. And a lot of people will come to our table who grew up in the 60s scoop, and they will see it and they'll start asking questions about this medicine. And then I'll share what I know about it, and you can see that it awakens their spirit or that blood memory.
They say that it's challenging to go out into the remote locations to harvest the medicine sometimes.
We get eaten up by mosquitoes and we camp out, and literally I'm always getting bit, so my forehead's like, so it's challenging, and he's getting attacked by bees. I don't, so it's just like such good teaching, so we just have to really be humble.
However, despite those challenges, they say that the joy of knowing that they're helping people heal makes it all worth it. Tina House, APTN National News, Vancouver.
Time for one more break. Still to come, a look at a new film hitting the festival circuit that I cannot wait to see. Stick around. Welcome back. Time now for our photo of the day. Melissa Robinson captured this sunset from Camp Morgan, the camp just outside the Brady landfill south of Winnipeg, where supporters are calling for a search. Be sure to send us some of your photos by using the share at aptn.ca email. Now let's take a look at tomorrow's weather forecast. Starting on the East Coast, 14 in Fredericton and Halifax. 5 with rain in Kuujjuaq, 7 in Nain, 16 in Montreal, partly cloudy, and 11 for Chibougamau. Cloudy and 15 in Sault Ste. Marie, showers and 14 in North Bay, 13 with rain for Thunder Bay and Sioux Lookout. In northern Manitoba, +3 with rain in Churchill, 9 in Norway House, 15 and showers for Winnipeg and Dauphin. 13 and cloudy in Regina, showers and 14 in North Battleford. 12 with rain in Meadow Lake, 10 with showers in La Ronge. In northern Alberta, showers and 10 in Fort Chip, 15 with rain in Grand Prairie. 18 in Edmonton, 19 for Lethbridge. Showers and 14 in Vancouver and Victoria. 16 with rain for Prince George, 8 in Fort Nelson. -3 with snow in Old Crow, 8 above and rain in Whitehorse. 7 with showers in Yellowknife, +1 and rain in Norman Wells. -1 with snow for Sax Harbor, cloudy and 5 in Paulatuck. +3 with snow in Chesterfield and Arviette. -8 in Resolute and Arctic Bay. A film loosely based on the hit movie Smoke Signals is now screening at film festivals around the world. It just recently screened at the Vancouver International Film Festival, where Tina House was there.
I'm Cody Lightning, Little Victor, as most people know me or should know me. Smoke Signals, big movie, I was in it.
Hey Victor is a movie that tells the story of a washed-up child actor played by Cody Lightning, who not only stars in the film, but also co-wrote and directed it. After living in the shadow of his once famous role, 25 years later, Lightning tries to reprise the success of Smoke Signals by writing a sequel.
I was Little Victor, the lead character as a kid for flashbacks.
Yeah, but he's not the protagonist. He's just the backstory.
It was a new challenge for me. I've acted in film for over 30 years, so writing and directing for something like that was completely different. As I was writing it and knew I was going to be acting in it, I was like, I have a few friends that I can direct that would be great.
We were the only 2 Indians in our class at the time. So we really had to stick together.
Sorry, Indians?
Yeah. I'm Cherokee. I'm at least half Cherokee.
And one of those friends is Hannah Cheeseman, who plays Kate Colombo, who's his childhood best friend and also becomes his manager.
So sweaty. Smells bad. It was community oriented. It felt like really a team, coming together. Lots of room for improv and ideas and pitching things and trying things out and so much laughter.
And audiences from across North America would agree how funny the film is. Not only did they just screen at the Toronto International Film Festival, but last spring screened at the Tribeca Film Festival in New York and scored an international deal with New York-based sales company Visit Films. Simon Baker, who plays young Thomas in the original Smoke Signals, also stars in the film and is associate producer.
I've done a lot of films. I've been at it since I was 9 years old, and I'm 37 now. So but Smoke Signals is one of the ones that I always get recognized for, even at this age and this way I look, people are, hey, you're young Thomas, that's the one I get recognized for. So, reliving it again and coming back with Cody, filming, this great way of film, mockumentary style and the 2 camera angles and, just improvising as much as possible.
Hey, Victor, smoke on this.
Rico, your cast, brother.
We kept at it. We were told no several times, and finally Telefilm came and said, "We believe in you, we'll support this." And we made it. So thank you from the bottom of my heart, for real.
Cut! Cut!
Tina House, APTN National News, Vancouver.
So badly want to see that. Smoke Signals was on last night. Never gets old, that one. Longtime advocate for missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls, Bridget Tolley, is our guest on a new episode of Face to Face tonight. Tolley now heads the grassroots advocacy group Families of Sisters in Spirit. She says she's disgusted that searching landfills for missing women was an issue in Manitoba's recent election.
We're not political, we're human beings. You know, we shouldn't, it's not a political issue whether we search or not. You know, it should be we're searching and that's it. We're going to bring home everybody, anybody, that whoever's in a landfill. You know, so it doesn't matter who it is or which landfill. You know, they need to be found. We have the technology to do it. We have dogs to do it. I would have done it a long time ago. And if Canada doesn't want to do it, it looks like we might have to go do it ourselves, you know? And I know we can do it. We just need to find the right people.
And you can watch our entire interview with Bridget right here in less than 2 minutes' time. And be sure to join us at 3 p.m. Eastern Time tomorrow as we put the climate crisis in focus. For more on anything you've seen here, you can head on over to our website, aptnnews.ca. I'm Dennis Ward. Marcy, thanks for being with us. Stick around. Face to Face is next. Have a great night.